Everything is awesome. From Lego Movie,
Uh-huh.
but sometimes the reality is more often everything is
I
awful.
know.
Let's see. So, are you ever in a conversation with a friend and they say, "Well, my therapist told me I could," or "My therapist told me to."
Although I think it's worse when couples do it to each other.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
when they
my
weaponize it.
therapist told
They're
me
like,
to
"My
stop
therapist said
gaslighting.
to tell you." I'm like, "Oh, I never said that."
Yeah, so we're talking about like how, today's episode is called My Therapist Told Me,
Mhm.
and it's how therapy leaves the office and how it shows up in real
In real
life.
life.
And we're not talking about it where you use it as a shield, it's where you use it as a shift. And
Yeah.
so sometimes, like saying to people, well, one of the things I'm working on with my therapist is
Mhm.
setting boundaries. That's not weaponizing it.
Yes, can we,
But
though, not weaponize it? Like, we gotta put that out there.
yeah,
Because
that's
no one
important.
in your life who's really close to you wants you to use it in that way. Because guess what? Then they're not going to support it. That's where you start to be like, well, I think your therapist isn't doing this with you, and then it just gets to be this whole ugly thing. So you can use your tools and you can own your tools, but just don't
Yeah.
use them as a weapon. Well,
Yeah.
my therapist said that you're wrong all the time.
Yeah.
Where are you going? I was noticing before that like I could be a drinking game. I
Oh,
say
Lord.
I say the word like and
Oh,
right.
I probably do
Oh, I
too.
can't tell you how many times I've had to take it out because there
Oh,
are so many
I
now.
think I have one of those too. I forget what
Um,
mine is though.
I'm trying to like make it
Mm.
see, I did it again. I'm trying to make a mental note to stop doing it, but it could be it's drinking. It could be a college drinking game.
All right. My therapist told me to stop over explaining. How many people are chronic over explainers?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we do that because we feel like we need to be understood.
Huh?
That's so important. I need to deliver it in such a way, and I can't go to your birthday because,
Mhm.
I have this and then I have this. And, I wanted to let you know that I would be there if I could be there. And I'm doing this whole thing. And I actually have to say that to clients. I encourage clients to do that. And I love when they test it out on me and they'll be
Mhm.
like, I need to reschedule the session on blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, word, look at you. You just did it.
Like it's just happening.
They're like, my mom's brother's cousin is coming in and I told him I would, help him with his social media. You don't have to do
Man,
that.
that's
It's okay.
exhausting.
Yes. So your therapist is right. Stop over explaining. Okay. My therapist told me stop trying to fix them and solve their problems. When you come in and you're like, yeah, or people call you and
Mhm.
they're like, I want to make an appointment for my son, a brother, wife, whatever. And you're like, why aren't they calling me?
Yes. Yeah. I
Why
have
aren't they
that
calling me?
conversation almost daily with somebody each time, but it has more to do with like the health of their loved one. Right? I have this phrase that I tell all my clients, which is you cannot care about somebody else's health more than they do.
Yep.
End of story.
Hmm.
You can care a lot, but you can't care more than the person. And so people will come in and be like, oh my God, I keep telling my husband he's got to go to the doctors and making all these appointments for him. And I'm
Yep.
like, oh, you're caring more about his health than he is.
Yep.
So yeah, that focus has to stay where it belongs.
Yeah, stop picking up people's meds. Stop
Hmm.
making people's appointments for
Yes.
them.
Yeah.
Stop doing that
Mhm.
stuff. Do not, we say this in therapy all the time. In therapy school, we were taught do not work harder than a client. But I would say don't work harder than your family member.
Yes.
If they're not putting in the effort, like
Mhm.
what are we doing here?
Yep, you can't work harder than them.
Don't work hard. It doesn't mean don't do anything.
Mhm.
It means don't work harder than
Harder.
they are.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay, this one's good.
Oh,
My therapist told me to allow silence.
oh, yeah.
Okay. So
So
I think a lot of people, especially if you are of the anxious
mhm.
attachment
Yes.
variety, silence absolutely sets your nervous system
Mhm.
ablaze.
Mhm.
And you are like, they're not talking to me. And there's people that absolutely weaponize
Yes.
silence.
Yeah, we'll
But
do a whole nother thing on that.
yes, we will do another episode. But silence itself, when
Mhm.
it first happens, is not an emergency. So really what I'm talking about is like in conversations, and this
Mhm.
goes back to kind of like over explaining, over functioning.
Yeah.
There's a lull and you're like, I must fill it.
Yeah.
You actually don't. And also in therapy school,
Mm.
we learned that when we say that, like where we're about to jump in is usually when a client digs
Yes.
deeper themselves and offers you something that they might not have
Yeah.
otherwise.
That was the hardest therapy school lesson for me. They would
It's
put you in
still
like
hard
a
for
mock
me.
relationship. And to learn silence, they would have you start this conversation with another student, and then they would give you a time frame in which you had to sit in silence and not to engage. And that was a very because it can drag on. Sometimes clients need, depending on the different client, they need several minutes to gather
Can
what they
you
got to say.
think of like a session or can you remember a client you worked with where
Hmm.
there was some like just
Oh my God, yes. Yeah, there's one in particular. The
there's one
silence
for me too.
would go on.
But like
It felt like it 20 minutes for me. I'm sure that's not how long it was.
How long do you think it was for
I
real?
think it could have been probably a good 4 or 5 minutes, which now probably doesn't sound long, but when you're sitting face to face with somebody and you were engaged in a conversation or there was a question asked and you're just sitting in that silence for 4 or 5 straight minutes, it can be very unnerving. And you have this, like, you want to jump in, you want to say, maybe I need to clarify, maybe I need, nope. You just sit and you give that person the space. And you do that with friends, you do it at home. You just have to learn to give somebody the time they need to gather their thoughts. And a lot of times when you ask somebody, why is there so much silence? Like, why is there so much of a big pause? They'll tell you, I'm trying to figure out what I want to say. And really, there are people who are very fluent in their mind in terms of like how quickly they come up with a response and how quickly they can get the response to come from their brain to the tips of their mouth. And there's other people who are like, no, I really need to think the whole
I
thing
need to
through
take
before I
a
say
beat.
it. Hmm?
So I have
Yeah.
one I can think of. It's wild because I timed it. It was
Oh,
bad.
okay.
It was 31 minutes.
Damn, that's,
So
like, more than half the session.
yeah, it was.
Okay.
So this person was very activated, very
Mhm.
upset.
Okay.
There was like stewing for like
Okay.
looking down and stewing. But I was like, this is this person's space. If this is how they need to use it.
Right?
So I did not jump in and be like, anything you want to. So we had been having some of the session
Mhm.
and then it was just silence and also giving the client like, okay, if you need to sit in silence and that's what you need, that's
Mhm.
what you need. And if that didn't work for that person, they were welcome to be like, so are you going to say anything? It
Right,
was
right,
someone I knew well enough that
right.
they
Do you
could
have something to
absolutely have been like,
contribute?
okay, if you're not going to say anything, I'm going to leave. So the person didn't say that to me and did not get up and leave. They waited until the session was over and said, I will see you next week.
Okay.
So that's what that client needed. So
Yep.
I had to sit on it and I was looking at the clock. No, yeah,
Yeah.
you can't pick up your phone. You just got to sit. I'm like, I
Yeah.
guess it's an opportunity to practice some
That's
patience.
right. Okay.
Okay. My therapist told me to pay attention to patterns and not promises. So I think a lot of times people will come in and a lot of it has to do with relational
Yes.
issues or dysfunction.
Mhm.
And a lot of it can be, it's somebody's potential, but I think they could because they said they could, or they're my parent and they
I see what
should.
they're gonna be.
Yeah. Like it's a DIY fixer
Yeah.
upper. So we love a promise.
Mhm.
Soothes our
Suits?
activation,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
So we're like, ooh, I could be in this. And then all of a sudden it's like a temporary bomb and then it's back.
Yep.
Bam.
Yeah.
So pay attention to patterns. So
Yes.
this is often said one time is an event,
Mhm.
something happens,
Yep.
twice is a coincidence, three times is a pattern.
Yeah.
So pay attention to patterns, not promises. Pay attention to observable behavioral.
I also say, so you can use this, my therapist said, I say this to my clients a lot when they're in relationships. Whoever that person is that you are committed to is an as is house. So, you know how you go to those houses and they're
Mhm.
like, this is as is. We're going to show you everything that's in it, everything that's good about it, everything that's bad about it, and you got to take it as is. And you're either a yes or no on this house. Well, relationships are very much like that, where if, again, not in the first couple weeks of dating or whatever, but if you're in a committed relationship and you're thinking about going long term or marriage or whatever it is, so many clients will go into a relationship or go into a marriage more than anything else going, yes, but when we have kids, I think it will be different.
They'll
When
change.
we share a mortgage, they won't spend so much money on this or those type of things. And you're expecting a person to be different then after you've engaged in some sort of commitment. And that can be a slippery slope. So, yes, your therapist is saying if you're engaging in a big commitment or a marriage of some sort, do not sell yourself on the, well, this will probably change. If it's an issue now, assume it might be an issue later. And if you're okay with that issue, that's fine. But you cannot expect that things are actually going to change just because there is a name change or a license of marriage or we move to a new location. Those people aren't going to change just to love you and
Mhm.
they shouldn't be expected to. You might have expectations that you would like to change. You might go to a partner and say, I don't really like the way that you yell. It upsets me. Can we work on that? And the person says, absolutely. I didn't know my yelling was an issue. I'm going to work on that. That's great. That's change they're willing to make. But if you've asked for change and nothing has happened, and then you expect change to come from a commitment, that is very disappointing in most cases.
Yes. So at the end of the day, we're trying to find a partner, not a
Mhm.
project.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. My therapist told me, let it end without one more attempt. My therapist told me, let natural consequences play out.
Mm,
Okay.
yes.
Let natural consequences of someone's behavior play
Mhm.
out. So when people are like, well, I had to go pick him up, he just
Uh-huh.
got out of jail. I
Yeah.
had to go bail him out. I had to drive her to the doctor's
Yep.
appointment. I had to pick her up from this meeting. I had to, you know, call out sick. I had to. Is it a consequence? Are you living a consequence of someone else's behavior? If you are, right? I have to take a look at that. Are there any that I might be participating in? Because
Yes.
sometimes we are living the
Yeah.
consequences of other people's
Mhm.
choices. But am I contributing to that? Right? Like,
Mhm.
did I have to go pick them up?
And here's one where I think people are really going to have a hard time accepting this is when we talk about parenting.
Yep.
Because we are born into this idea that we will protect our children at all costs. And I understand that. And in many cases, that is the truth. There are things that we do have to protect them. It's our job to protect them from certain things. But consequences of some of their natural actions are things that they will learn from. And so there's this very tight rope that parents walk on in terms of fixing all their problems for their kids versus allowing those consequences to occur. If you see your kid is about to make a mistake, and that mistake has a consequence, and the consequence is not life threatening, the consequence
Correct.
will
It's
not
not a safety
harm them in
issue.
any way. It is not always in the best interest to stop them from making mistakes,
Hmm.
right? If they are going to lie about something and you know they're about to lie to you, don't get in front of it. Address the
Hmm.
fact that they lied to you and have a consequence to the lie. If they have missed assignments, don't email their teachers for them.
Don't do their projects.
Don't do their projects for them, right? And if they're not going to get the project handed in and it needed to be handed in and they're going to get a 0, let them get the 0. Those things have to actually play out, and you getting involved in that or stopping the natural consequences is not helpful. So your therapist says, let the natural consequences of people's act happen, even if you know better. Just as long as it's not a harmful consequence.
Yeah, like a health
Yeah.
safety issue. But I think if it's like, well, how do I know which one? Go back to the patterns, right? Once is an event.
Mhm.
Okay. Right.
Right.
Like, okay, I'm going to do the
Hmm.
thing. Okay. I'm going to
Yeah.
help you out. Twice is a coincidence. Three
Hmm.
times now we're in a pattern. And if I continue participating, I'm going to participate in this
Yeah.
pattern. Like,
Yep.
if my kid oversleeps his alarm, this has
Right.
happened, right? Like,
Right.
one time that's an event. I
Right.
got you. Twice,
Right.
oh, dang. Three times, I'm like, sir,
We need to learn how to get up.
yeah, and if you can't, you're gonna lose your job, and that's gonna
Mhm.
be a natural
Yes.
consequence of it. I'm not gonna be like, "I'm waking you because you're gonna lose your job." What about when I'm not there?
Mhm.
Then what's gonna happen? He's gonna lose every job because he never learned how to wake up? Yes, so don't create, a crisis, and don't stand in the way of a crisis and the natural
Mhm.
consequences from a crisis. Like, if you drink and drive and you get arrested, it is a natural consequence that you spend some time in jail.
It's gonna happen.
You're gonna have legal consequences of
Mhm.
that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, my therapist told me to say, "That doesn't work for me anymore."
Okay.
So I think this happens a lot, right? When one person goes to therapy, and we say taking care of yourself is the best thing you can do, we truly
Right.
mean that. Because what happens when one person goes into therapy or starts doing things differently and healing, growth kind of focus, it has ripple effects and it kind of can disrupt the whole system, right? So
Sure.
we'll go back to the example. If you were someone that every time your adult child got arrested, they called you, you bailed them out, and they got to live with you for a while, and then you listened to this podcast and you went to therapy and you worked on yourself and you were like, no more,
Can't do it.
can't do it. And you say no, the system, right,
Mhm.
has expected you to always be who you've been.
Yeah.
What do you mean no?
Right. And
But
who's telling you to
before,
say no to me?
yeah, but before, what? So that goes back.
Mhm.
That's a natural consequence. You let that person, they have their feelings. But I think, going back to saying you don't over explain.
Mhm.
So you're not like, I started a healing journey and on my healing journey, we decided
My
we were
therapist
working
says.
on. No, you can just say
Mhm.
this one phrase. Yeah, that doesn't work for me anymore. You are not obligated to answer the question as to why it doesn't work for
Right.
you anymore. That's over explaining. Don't do that.
Right.
Less is more. And you can say what you mean, but you don't have to say it mean.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
you don't have to be like, screw you. I'm not helping you anymore. You can just say, that doesn't work for me
Mhm.
anymore.
Yeah.
Picking you up every time you are arrested doesn't work for me
Yeah.
anymore. Letting you live here in and out, that doesn't work for me anymore. The hardest part is not justifying it.
Yeah.
right? Because you'll say, that doesn't work for me anymore because
Because
I
I
worry
right.
about you and because I don't have any money and I
Yep.
would lend it to you. And really, we over explain because I'm trying to alleviate my own discomfort and
And
my own
guilt. Mhm.
anxiety about seeing you distressed.
Yes.
And that's why we protect people from their consequences because we love them. And seeing you distressed distresses me. So at what
But it's
point,
really me then taking care of me. I don't wanna
correct,
be uncomfortable,
through
and you
you,
being upset makes me uncomfortable, so I'm just gonna fix this problem before you get me uncomfortable.
and we call that in therapy
Mhm.
triangulation. So we're going
Mhm.
to cut out the middleman and
Yep.
we're going to say, you're not responsible for my
Mhm.
anxiety. What if I'm just responsible for
Right.
my anxiety? So if I am running out of money and constantly anxious, what I'm going to do to take care of that, I'm going to stop bailing you out of
Mhm.
jail.
Yeah.
Right. If I'm constantly anxious, worried about where you're going to be, I'm going to stop letting you live here. I'm going
Yes.
to stop following you on Find My Friends. I'm
Mhm.
going to stop doing that if you were an adult.
Yes.
Right. I'm going to
Yeah.
stop doing those things. So that's the way I'm going to take care of my anxiety
Yeah.
rather than outsourcing it to
Yeah.
you.
And you can always use the phrase, I am learning new ways to handle stressors in my life. That is one phrase you can take away. I am learning new ways to handle stressors in my life. So somebody says to you, but you do this for me all the time. You bail me out all the time, or you give me, $20 every week, so I can get gas. And I understand that, but I'm learning new tools and new ways to reduce the stressors in my life because then you're actually showing I'm putting me first
Mhm.
and I'm learning, I'm educating myself on better ways to adapt to my life. And so who's going to argue with you about your healthier ways for your life?
So, you know how sometimes you want to ask a hard question, but
Hmm.
you're really afraid of the answer and it feels so vulnerable.
Yeah.
And so we fish. So
Hmm.
let's say you get anxious, your partner was supposed to be home at X amount of time and they're a couple hours late
Hmm.
and they didn't text you and you had them on Find My Friends. You went on there,
You
you
where they
did the
were.
thing, you looked. So you feel really anxious and
Hmm.
insecure, right? Because
Sure.
you saw them at this old watering hole they used to go to
Right.
with their ex all the time. And you don't go
Now I'm
and you weren't
heated.
with them, right? And you're feeling all kinds of way and you making a whole story.
Hmm.
Your bags
Yep.
are packed, you're ready.
Hmm.
So instead, it's like, so what time did you finish work? So where did you go afterwards? Like, what are we doing?
I don't, God bless those people who are that patient.
No,
I
but
could never do it.
I'm putting a little bit of bait out. I'm going to put a little bit about, or we could try this. Hey, I thought you were going to get home at 7, and when you didn't, and I didn't hear from you, I felt really anxious and worried and concerned.
I think I would rage bait the hell out of that. Yeah, like,
First of all, I'm a delight.
mm.
First of all,
However, if you're
yes,
lying to me about your location, I am the Hulk.
but
Like, absolutely.
this is what I say to a lot of people. They're like, and then I saw he was active and not active, and then
Mhm,
he was on and not on, and then the story, and then he deleted the story. And you're
mhm.
making this whole, stop being a like Timu Sherlock
Yeah,
Holmes.
but see,
Please stop.
I don't understand any of that really because yes, don't be fishing. Just be direct. Just be direct. Direct with I'm uncomfortable. This is how I'm feeling. I'm angry. I'm annoyed. Whatever. Just
With what
be
I
direct.
need, be direct.
But if there is that much of hiding and then not hiding, hiding and then not hiding, hiding and then not hiding, the answer is clear. There are parts of my life I'm hiding from you. If I let you follow me sometimes, then I turn my location off sometimes, then I turn it back on, then I turn it back off, and then I tell you you're just crazy for looking, we're already there, right? We're already in a negative place. So if there is those things that are in your face on a consistent basis, just be direct, see what's there, and then make decisions that are appropriate.
Right.
But
And going back, one time is an event, 3
yes,
times were a
yeah,
pattern. If it becomes a pattern, you can decide if the pattern works for you
right,
or it doesn't.
right.
And that is a direct thing to
Mhm.
say. But also we can fish. We'll be like, you doing anything Friday? What about like Friday afternoon? You got it? Do you have any plans? Do you have anything going on? Hmm. Do you think you'd be up for like would you be able to help me with something?
Right.
What is it? Do you think you could help me move a couch into the city?
Like, oh my God, that could have been like a 4-second text.
But do you
Yeah.
see?
Mhm.
Like, we
Yes.
fish because the
Yes.
vulnerability feels so exposing. I think last night texted someone and said, like, "But if that doesn't work for you, that's fine.
No pressure.
Yeah, no worries if not, but only if you're free and it works out for your schedule and it's that like, why am I managing your feelings?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make the ask.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it at face value that you are a grown adult that has agency.
Yes.
You can make whatever decision you need to make. I will respect the decision
Mm.
that you need to make, even if I don't understand it.
Right.
Don't need to understand it. I'll respect it. Okay. Okay.
Be direct.
Yes, but stop
Yes.
with that goes back to the like over explaining too.
Yes.
Okay. Hopefully these clarified some things that are healthy, that are therapist endorsed.
Mhm.
And if people are saying them in the way that we just explained,
Right.
that is a good indication that they're not weaponizing it.
Right.
They are indeed trying to live differently, as you said.
And be supportive of that.
Yes. So give them a like, I appreciate all the
Yeah,
effort you're
you're
making.
doing such a good
I want
job.
a sticker for going to therapy.
I'm like, you get 100% today. You did such a good job.
Yes. But therapy is hard. We should get
It
a
is
little sticker.
hard.
I tried today.
It's hard.
I didn't kick anyone today. Only cried a little.
I am a delight.
First of all,
I am
I
a
am
delight.
an absolute delight. Okay?
We're only angry when pushed.
Yes. All right. Till next time, stay nearly normal.